Shemeda Kudi Shaberi who Leila Mikol Verhata Veshirata Tushbehata Venemata
Ma Mimeru, amen. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barechu et Adonai Amvorach. Baruch Adonai Amvorach Le'olam va'ed Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Am I awake? Am I prepared?
Please be seated. We turn to page 149 and read together in the middle of the page. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We turn now to page 152 as we prepare to utter these words, to sing these words led by our 4th and 5th graders that ask us to listen, that ask us to listen to that voice within us that says Adonai is our God, and Adonai is one.
Ve'ata et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha, b'veitecha, uvlechtecha, v'aderech, uv'shochbecha, uv'kumecha, ukshartam lehod al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uktaftam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'hisharecha. Lema'an tizkiru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet.
Page 157, we read responsibly. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt, we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did. Yai, lie, 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 lie.
Yai, lie, 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 lie.
Yai, lie, 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 lie.
Yai, lie, 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 lie.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora oseh, nora oseh v'le Adonai, imloch le'olam va'ed. Yai, lie, 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 lie. Yai, lie, 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 lie. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael.
Amen.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Hamidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
We turn now to page 162 as we sing together these words that come to us from our Torah. Words that remind us each week, sung with Ruach, that as we keep this day of rest, as we keep Shabbat, it will keep us as well, and it will then renew our souls.
And that word that the rabbi mentioned, ruach, with spirit, with a little bit of energy. So I want to see some woos, I want to see some standing and some clapping, okay? Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Masod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Masod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat Vayi nafash veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabbat la'asot et hashabbat ledor Tamid olam.
So I just have to point out that the back half of the sanctuary, which is not where our students are, definitely had better wooing than.
I don't know. There was some pretty serious wooing going on over here.
But also, I do have to point out, though, and Jack, it's great that you're back in the service in the sanctuary, but who's going to woo on Facebook for us now? We turn now in our prayer books to page 164 as we rise for the tefillah.
Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Adonai, sifatai titach. Ufia di teilatecha, Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov. Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Gilal Dibnei V'Nehem, Le'ma'an Shemo v'Yahava, Melech Hoser u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rab le'Hoshia, Mashiv haruach morid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Sohomech noflim berofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al givurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, Vene'eman ata lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol, Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yehallelu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
Shalom. Shalom. Yaakov Yisrael. Roma. Buya Ase. Shalom. Ose Shalom. Roma. Buya Ase. Shalom. Hallelujah. Ose Shalom. Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom, Yaakov Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom, Yaakov Yisrael, Roma. Buya Aseh Shalom. Hallelujah. This Shabbat, we transition in our Torah. For the last number of weeks, we've been reading stories of Abraham, the first member of the Jewish people, his wife Sarah, and their trek from their father's house in Ur to the land of Israel, to the land of Canaan, which would become the promised land as God sent them forth. And shortly after this section of Torah, we are going to transition, even in this section of Torah, this week's Parshat Toldot, we transition through Isaac, Abraham's son, to Jacob, the following generation. Isaac, the second of our patriarchs, the second of the individuals who we say Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, doesn't have a very big story in the Torah. He's bookended, as it were, by Abraham, the first Jew, and Jacob, who would become Israel, the head of the children of Israel, the head of what we are to become as a nation. Rabbi Gerald Wolpe of blessed memory was known to say of Isaac that he reminded him of Abraham Mendelssohn, who was a scholar, was important in his own right, but as the son of the philosopher Moses Mendelssohn and the father of the composer Felix Mendelssohn, was known to say, I spent half of my life being the son of my father and the second half being the father of my son. Isaac is like that. Isaac doesn't have a big story in the Torah, and yet we still look to him as one of the founding members of our community. So the rabbis ask, what did Isaac do? There's a line in the Torah that says that Isaac was out walking in the afternoon, and the rabbis take this line, it's from last week's Torah portion, to indicate that Isaac, in his walk through the fields in the afternoon, created mincha, the afternoon service. But the creation of mincha, as it were, isn't such a big deal. Abraham had already communed with God, had already started the idea of prayer, of asking God and blessing God. And so creating a new service doesn't really add much. So the question is, what does Isaac do? What is he known for? What is his mark on the community? And we get that in this Torah portion. Abraham, as we know, was the first one of our people to enter into the land. And as he moved through the land, he created settlements and dug wells to feed, to water himself and his herds. But after his passing, the Philistines, we are told, filled the wells, destroyed the wells. Isaac, it is said, turned anew to digging the water wells that had been dug in the time of his father Abraham, which the Philistines had stopped up after Abraham's death, and he gave them the same names as his father before him. Now, you may hear that and think, well, he just repeated what his father did. But it's important to note that after this point, after Isaac dug these wells and established or reestablished this place in the Holy Land, the Torah doesn't go back to a place of redigging the wells. And so Isaac's role is to dig the roots deeper. Isaac made his mark in the land, and it's important to note that of our patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Isaac is the only one who lives his entire life within the boundaries of the promised land. So by digging these wells, by digging them anew, he finds that foothold. It may not seem like a major thing, but it provides those roots which Jacob's descendants will come back to, where Moses will lead them to come back to, and Joshua will take them into, and the wells will be there. These wells that were dug centuries before they returned will be there. And so it's important for us to note in our lives, we may not always see the big picture. We may not always see how we're making a mark in the world. We may be known as the sons of our fathers, the daughters of our mothers, the sisters or brothers to our siblings. But the work we do, the mitzvot we do, the good deeds we do, and the service that we do is what truly matters and which provides that lasting impact for generations to come. We take a moment now in our service as we think of members of our community who are ill. Some are at home recovering, some are in the hospital, some have diseases and illnesses from which they may never recover. We think of them, and we think especially this week of Richard Zuspin, Lee Silverstein, Jill Vantine, Eleanor Goodman, Yuli Makovich, Libby Routman, Laurel Phoenix, Marjorie Whitmore, Jerry Phillips, Claire Levin, Paul Kershon, Reva Fisher, Chandler Jacobs, Aaron Withers, Brianna Jacobs, Leslie Knight, Bert Singerman, Stephen Schiff, Mateo Velazquez, Dr. David Mazel, Janelle Siegel, Rachel Davis, Max Jacobs, Kathy Waldner, Susan Abrams, Jerry Jacobs, Christopher Denton, Barney Greenberg, Jerry Gimple, Phyllis Lapin, Vivian Perini, Libby Katz, Betty Olson, Miriam Balouse, and Marnie Hanley. If you are thinking of someone who is in need of a prayer of healing, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours. We think of all of them. So we ask for God's healing presence to be with them, and to bring a healing of body, spirit, and soul. We ask God to watch over all of those who are suffering because of the pandemic and who are victims of violence around the world. We also ask God to be with those who care for the sick each day, bringing them support and love, hope and strength, as we ask for God's healing presence to be with all of us on page 371.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Ve'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha ve'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
In addition to all of the things that I listed that were earlier this week, in the coming week, we also, as a nation, honor our veterans. And so tonight, I'm going to ask all of you who are in the congregation tonight, who are veterans yourselves or active duty, military or Coast Guard, in addition to the families of our veterans and active duty servicemen and women, to please rise and come to the front of the sanctuary, along and bring your books with you. So before you walk too far from the microphone, I'm going to ask each of you to tell us who you are and what service you were in or service your family member is or was in.
Saul Danzig, Air Force, active duty for 10 years and retired as a guardsman after 10 years. Pilot, flew B-52s on active duty, C-5s in the Guard.
Thank you.
I lived the life with him. I'm just his wife. I can't top that. Chris and Jody Rosa, and our baby is in the United States Coast Guard, stationed in Homer, Alaska. He's a coxswain and BM2, and I believe he'll be a lifer. So just hopefully someplace warmer.
I'm Ron Harvey. I have 6 years active duty in the Army and 14 years in the reserve after that.
Thank you.
Jack Kingston, my son Benjamin is Air Force Staff Sergeant based in Tacoma, Washington.
So to all of you who have served our country, all of you whose family are serving our country or have served our country, we say, God of compassion, God of dignity and strength, watch over the active duty servicemen and women and veterans of the United States in recognition of their loyal service to our nation. Bless them with wholeness and love, shelter them, heal their wounds, comfort their hearts, grant them peace. God of justice and truth, rock of our lives, bless our veterans and active duty men and women, these men and women of courage and valor, with a deep and abiding understanding of our profound gratitude. Protect them and their families from loneliness and want. Grant them lives of joy and bounty. May their dedication and honor be remembered as a blessing from generation to generation. Blessed are you, protector and redeemer, our shield and our stronghold. We turn now to page 376, and I'm going to ask all of you to help me in leading this prayer for our country as we all rise. Second paragraph. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe for affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Page 680. We remain standing.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
And we remain standing and face the ark as we turn to page 586 for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gidula liyotzeh bereshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz, umoshav yikaro b'shamayim yima'al, ushchinat uzo begovei meromim, hu Eloheinu einon, vanahaknu koreim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'ne'emar v'aya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. Page 597. We read responsibly. Remember our people who suffered and died so that we could be free and secure. May their memory be more than a distant shadow. Remember our brothers and sisters whose sacrifice kept the dream of democracy and justice alive. May their courage be our inspiration and strength. Remember the fallen of our armed services, the victims of terror and tragedy. May the darkness of their loss not obscure the light of peace. They were in love with our land and in love with life. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. So we remember them. We meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. At this sacred moment of our Shabbat evening worship, we think longingly and lovingly of those taken from us both recently and at this season in years past. We are in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days since their funeral, Charles Goodman and Anne Perlman. And we mark the yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing on this Shabbat, of Leonard Jacober, William Ferguson, Rabbi Selig Salkowitz, Maurice Lipson, June Pasillo, Samuel Ostro, Roberta Shapiro, and Sanford Kine. If you are remembering someone on this Shabbat, I invite you to share their name with the community as my eyes meet yours, or if you are joining us virtually, to add their name at this time to the chat. Zichronam livracha. May their memories always be a blessing. As we take all of their memories into our hearts, connecting them to the memories of the millions of our people who have no one to say Kaddish for them, the thousands and thousands who have died as a result of the pandemic, and the Shmei Rabbah, the great, holy, and awesome name of God that we praise now, rising as one community and turning to page 598 to speak together the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach rutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam l'almei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yinaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmeid kudsha brichu. Le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata. Da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mroma. Huya aseh shalom. Alenu v'al kol Yisrael. Bimru, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all the bereaved here and everywhere with the blessing of peace. Together we all say, amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen.
Please be seated. Good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It was a joy being with all of you here tonight, both in person and as well as virtually. Thank you to our 4th and 5th grade students for helping lead us in prayer tonight. Thank you to our veterans and the family of our active duty servicemen and women for coming tonight for this blessing. And we thank you as well for your service to our community and our country. Just a few brief announcements before Kiddush and Motzi and our closing song and benediction. Tomorrow morning, we will continue Shabbat at 9 a.m. in Classroom 6 with our Learners Shabbat program, which kicks off tomorrow morning. It's a series of classes that will be taught over the next number of months by Mike and I, where we will be digging deep into the worship service, into different sections each time, looking at their genesis, looking at the choreography, the music, the melodies, the reason why we say these words, what they mean, what their purpose is in our service. Tomorrow morning, we will be focusing on Birchot HaShachar and Pesukei DeZimra, the opening blessings and psalms of our morning service. We hope you will join us tomorrow at 9 a.m. for what is sure to be a very interesting discussion. Then at 10:30, we welcome you back for our Shabbat morning worship service, where tomorrow morning we will celebrate the Bat Mitzvah of Lila Turner, as she will become the newest adult member of the Jewish people by leading us in prayer and reading from the Torah, and then teaching us from its ancient wisdom. And we look forward to celebrating Lila with you and your family tomorrow morning. On Sunday, our religious school will meet as normal, and our B'nai Mitzvah class, for those students who are in it, will meet with Mike here in the sanctuary at 10:30. On Monday, Molly's Hebrew class meets at 10, and our sisterhood board meeting is at 7:30 p.m. On Wednesday, we have Torah study here in the sanctuary at 11. C. Diddy, our youth group, is having a lounge night here at the synagogue on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. On Thursday, our knit and crochet group will meet on Zoom. And next Friday night, we have a very special Shabbat as well. First, we have Tad Shabbat at 5:30. And during our Kabbalat Shabbat worship service at 7:30, we will have a memorial during that service for Kristallnacht, the night of broken glass, which fell on November 9th. And so we will mark that during next week's Kabbalat Shabbat worship service. And Arthur Meyer, a member of our congregation, many of you know, speaking of being known by who you're related to, many of you know his daughter, Sherry Nemiroff, who's our worship committee chair. He will be speaking during services next week. Art is a survivor of the Holocaust and will be sharing his story. So I invite you all to please join us next week for what is a really important service, really going to be a meaningful service, and just an opportunity to hear from someone who experienced it, who lived through it. And as we know, there aren't that many opportunities that we will have for that left. Then next Saturday night on the 13th, Saturday afternoon, we have Singo at 3:30. It's going to be a fun musical bingo event. Ashley is where there. You can ask Ashley. I knew you were over there somewhere. Ashley, it's over there. You can ask Ashley for more information during the Oneg Shabbat this evening. We also want to thank David Bloom and Kathleen Sable for all of their mentorship with the staff, the board, and all their sort of hard work behind the scenes, making sure things run smoothly here at CDT. We want to thank them this week. Being that it's the first Shabbos in November, that also makes it birthday Shabbat. So if you do have a November birthday, I'm going to ask you to please rise.
No one's born in November. What? Wait. Woohoo!
So we got Sophie. All right. So we've got one.
We have a lot of chocolate for her.
So
My
Sophie.
goodness. Wait, do we have two?
All right, we've got two. All right.
Yay!
So I mean, usually I come to you, but you guys are welcome to come up. All right. So tell us who you are, when's your birthday, and how old you're going to be.
My name is Sophie. My birthday is November 25th, and I'm going to be 10 years old.
Mazel tov.
Woohoo!
All right,
Wait,
come on
stay
up.
up. Stay.
All right, next. More.
Oh, seriously?
Do you have a birthday?
I do.
In November? In general, yes. November?
I'm Limor. My birthday is on November 21st.
You can stop there if you want.
I'm gonna stop there.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Yes.
Rachel, November 7th.
Mazel tov.
Wow. Okay, wait. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sophie, Rachel, and Limor. Happy birthday to you. Yom Huledet Sameach. Cha-cha-cha, come on. Yom Huledet Sameach. Yom Huledet Sameach.
Yom. You can be seated now. We are now going to begin to conclude our service with Kiddush and Motzi and a closing song and benediction. So I'm going to ask everyone to turn in your prayer books to page 123. And I'm going to ask Lila to come forward as we ask everyone to please rise for Kiddush.
Lila, you can leave your book. You're just going to hold up the Kiddush cup. It's okay. I'll do the singing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagaved. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'yahava uvratzon hinchalatanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. L'chaim. Yes, you can take a sip.
Now, Lila, I'm going to ask you to uncover the challah. As we sing, you can.
Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Amutzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Yeah, take a little piece.
So as Lila is having the first piece of challah, we turn to our closing song and benediction. And it's not too often outside of musical Shabbat that we bring Broadway into our services. But as I said, it's a big week. 50 years ago, on November 3rd, 1971, Fiddler on the Roof, the movie, debuted. So in honor of the 50th anniversary, we thought we would conclude our service with Sabbath prayer as our closing song and benediction.
So moms and dads and parents, if your child is with you, put your arms around them. May the Lord protect and defend you. May God always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Israel a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen us, O Lord, and keep us from the stranger's way. Yada-da-da, yada-da-da. May God bless you and grant you long life. May the Lord fulfill our Sabbath prayer for you. May God keep you and shield you from strife. May God in God's wisdom always care for you. May the Lord protect and defend you. May God always shield you from shame. Favor us, O Lord, with happiness and peace. Oh, hear our Sabbath prayer. Amen. May the Lord protect and defend you. Amen.
Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
Where's our oneg? We got an oneg?
And there's an oneg outside.
Oneg outside. Good job, everybody.